Hello there guys, thanks as always for passing by the channel. Welcome back to another video. Much appreciated everyone watching. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Don't forget as well, please, to like and share the videos. Thanks to everyone who's been getting involved so far, commenting and everything. Well, another good weekend of boxing. I actually didn't realise that Adrian Broner was fighting last night. I completely forgot. Otto Vollen getting the victory over Brazil, I think it was. I'm not going to review them fights because I didn't watch them. To be honest, I wasn't interested. I'm not a big Adrian Broner fan. But however, one thing which definitely did deliver was Matchroom's card on Saturday night. Well, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm going to have a look at all the fights because I've got plenty to say about them. The main event, Avanesyan versus Josh Kelly for the European title. The big question in that fight was always going to be, can Josh Kelly's gas tank handle it? Because he is big for the weight, and I know he struggled to get down to 147 in the past. This fight showed clear evidence this gas tank just wasn't up for it, like completely not up for it. I don't think Josh Kelly was prepared for that fight at all. That Avanesyan is a monster. He, like I said, against Velasquez, he looked brilliant. He built up momentum like a snowball going down a mountain, then came down like an avalanche, an absolute avalanche. I will give Josh Kelly some kudos though, because he fought well in the first couple of rounds. He looked very sharp, he landed some clean punches, he even wobbled at Avanesyan in the second round, I believe. But then everything changed and the momentum. Avanesyan just kept that pressure coming forward, not letting Josh Kelly breathe. And I felt I thought Josh would lose, but it's the manner in which he lost which actually kind of annoyed us. Because I mentioned that draw he had on the AJ Ruiz card in New York and how it annoyed me. This is the same. All that showboating and clowning around cost him badly. If you can do that for 12 rounds, fair enough, so long as you're making sure that you're scoring points. Josh Kelly's got a gas tank where he can do it for 4 rounds and then he's completely gassed. And he just couldn't go the distance. He emptied his tank so fast and early that he just couldn't. By the 4th round, he just looked absolutely gone. He needs to take a step back and just focus on the basics, like everything, because he was just too easy to hit. Also, which one thing, especially in that 4th round, which I noticed he was dropping his hands, which really annoyed me because that is basic. Keep your hands up. Learn the basics. Much like Lara and Warrington last week, Avanesyan, who I am going to give a lot of credit for, he looked fierce. He came for destruction. He really brought it. He went to the body. He landed some great punches. He knocked the wind out of Josh Kelly. Clean punches. He knew that would be what it would take to slow him down. Very smart, very tactical. Just like chopping down a tree. Kelly was cut. I noticed Kelly also, he had a bad cut around the ear or back of the head. I think it was the 2nd round. And it was like once Avanesyan smelt blood, he just went in for the kill and landed some ferocious combinations in the 6th round to end it. So credit to him for that. Was the fight stopped a bit early? Not really, in my opinion. I think Kelly was taking some bad punishment in there, and Adam Booth will know him better than anybody else. So he's just looking out for his fighter's well-being. So I don't have a problem with how the fight was stopped. I think if it goes on longer, Kelly's getting knocked out cold. And I also noticed that Avanesyan had a face-off with Conor Benn after the fight. And Ben was getting all wound up. If I'm Conor Benn, I'm avoiding that guy like the plague, literally. Because I think that Avanesyan will destroy Conor Benn. Probably he's even quicker than he destroyed Kelly last night. Like, he is someone to watch out for. There's a future world champion in there. And what next for Josh Kelly? I don't really know, to be honest. He's made a name for himself, certainly here in the Northeast. He's very popular. I don't think it's the end for him, but one thing we do know is we know where he is in terms of levels. He's kind of on that kind of push into, he's European level, but he's not, like anybody who's saying he's world level, he is not anywhere near that at the moment. He is maybe fringe European at best. So it's not the end of his career. Just stop trying to be so flashy. That's all I would say to him. Like, not many people can get away with it. It's like all these lads think they're Floyd and like they can, try and be all flashy. You can do that. If you can do that, it's good, but you can't just be flashy for 4 rounds and gas and then get knocked out. It just doesn't work. It doesn't look good on you as a boxer. You know, if you went on Twitter last night, so many people were saying, "Oh, we're glad he got knocked out because he was so cocky." Just come and fight. That's all it is. That's all. I still like Josh Kelly, and I'm still a fan of his, but just pull back the flashiness and just come and fight. That's all it is. The co-main event of that fight was Florian Marku versus Ryland Charlton. A very good fight. That was one I was really looking forward to. How big did Ryland Charlton look on them scales? Like, he almost looks too big to be a boxer. He looks more like a bodybuilder. Like, he is some specimen. If he got into like the gym and weights, he'd be Mr. Olympia in literally no time at all. He looks fantastic. But again, muscles don't equal stamina, and muscles don't equal good boxing ability either. You know, it's more show rather than actual kind of purpose. Marku's jab was brilliant. He was throwing it in 2s and 3s, just like some of the classic boxers of the old days. It was a mixed fight because I felt that Marku had the better jab, but he took more shots. Charlton looked to have more power, but also struggled to land. Charlton's jab was terrible. That was very below par. He needs to work on that a lot. Marku landed a beautiful 1-2, which dazed Ryland, and you saw his legs wobble. Yeah, I think Charlton won the later rounds because Marku looked he looked so tired after that 6th round onwards, but he pulled through, and he has got some chin on him. Like, his chin and jab won him that fight. I think it was right to stop that one as well because Charlton's legs were wobbling, as I said, and his eyes were nearly completely shut. Like, his eyes were like, you know, almost closed from all that punishment. That body shot as well that Marku landed was the killer. That was what, like I said, body shots. Body shots will kill any powerful, skillful boxer. They are lethal. I know that. I've had one of the 2 of them myself. Some say that fight was stopped early. I don't think it was. I can see why, but I've got no problem with it. So well done to Ryland for bringing it to Marku. Marku was just too good. You know, again, levels. Marku was another one who was having a thing with Conor Benn. But I think he's overreaching there. I think Conor Benn would beat Marku easily. So that's the thing. Conor Benn has got options. If he's got Avanesyan or Marku, take Marku. Easy, because that's an easy night's work for him. Avanesyan's a nightmare. And the fight before that was Robbie Davis Jr. versus that Mexican, Valenzuela at junior welterweight. Good, entertaining fight. That Mexican was on a 20-fight winning streak. He's in the same stable as Canelo Alvarez. So that guy, I didn't know that actually until I'd seen a post-fight. So that guy's got some, you know, he's got some good resume and good people around him. Robbie got knocked down early. I noticed the judging in this fight was a bit dodgy. I think after 5 rounds, someone had it 56-56, which is ridiculous. Or 6 rounds, something like that. And there were some rabid punches from Robbie Davis Jr. in that fight, but he never got warned. He never got any points deducted. But the Mexican, got a point deducted like that. And this fight was the right result. I was so convinced that they were going to rob that Mexican of the win. I was so convinced by it because I know what British judges are like. They're dodgy, they're biased towards the UK fighters, especially Matchroom. I thought it was going to be a draw, split decision towards Robbie, but the Mexican won. The right man won on the night. I was pleased with that. Good performance from Robbie. He'll come again. You know, the Ritson rematch is always there for him, and he's in a good weight class, so he will come back. And then we had Johnny Fisher versus Matt Gordon. Fisher did very well to stop Matt Gordon in the first round. He's very heavy-handed. Nowhere near as tense or as tight as I thought it might be. I'd like to see Fisher in like a couple more of the 4-round fights, then see him step up to 6-rounders. Maybe in with a Babic or someone like that in the future, another heavyweight prospect. And at the end of the day, he's 21, so he's got plenty of years. You know, especially these heavyweights, they can go until they're like 40. And of course, the first fight was Jordan Gill versus Cesar Juarez. A good performance from Jordan Gill. He remained composed under heavy fire from a very aggressive opponent, you know, but he weathered that pressure pretty well. Big things to come from Jordan Gill. I'm really liking what I'm seeing there, because he's a really good prospect, that guy. So overall, from top to bottom, I have to say this was one of Matchroom's best cards I've seen in a long time. It was the best card in paper, and it definitely delivered. Like, despite some of the fighters' setbacks, this card had excellent action, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Arguably a bad night, a very, very bad night for Matchroom though. 5 fights on the main card, 2 wins and 3 defeats. Someone mentioned on my last video that Hearn might not be too bothered because he can at least sign up some of these young lads and these Mexicans, and that's very true. You know, the one that beat Robbie and the one that was in against Jordan, sign them up, get them on other cards, because they're top quality boxers. Avanesyan, you know, he's gonna a lot of people, there's a lot of hype around him at the moment and where he can go. So it'll be good, interesting to see what comes from them. But British boxing is in dire straits now. Like we need to start getting some wins. And we think about all the popular, you know, good British fighters who have lost recently. Josh Kelly, Josh Warrington last week, Callum Smith and Luke Campbell, like all in 2021, and we're in February. And then if we think about Dillian White, Daniel Dubois, Kell Brook, Anthony Yard, the list goes on. Oh, I don't know. Where do we go from here? Who knows? British boxing, we need some more wins. Let's hope we can get some. Peace.